What we're doing right now is doing what we call real-life crashes.
What you're seeing here are deliberate collisions designed to teach investigators from across the country what happens when a police cruiser crashes. North Las Vegas crash investigator Jim Byrne organizes the two-day event at the Las Vegas Speedway.
Not laboratory crashes where you put the hybrid dummies in it and you run it at a 45-degree angle or an offset. Actually here it's real world. We have an actual person driving a vehicle.
They crash lots of cars and trucks, but none more often than the Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, the most common vehicle used by most police departments.
The rule of thumb with reconstructing an accident is you're basically predicting what happened in the past.
Crash scenes like these can tell investigators about the speed and seatbelt use. What they can't do is get into the mind of the driver. Why would an officer go 107 miles an hour with no lights, sirens, or seatbelt? Why would an officer speed, again, with no seatbelt, lights, or siren, and no urgent call? Those are the questions that still linger for Metro Police after two deadly crashes this year.
These recent tragedies have brought to light a nationwide problem of police officers not wearing seatbelts.
For some perspective, I spoke on the phone with Ron Kelly, a nationally recognized expert on police driving, to find out why some officers break the rules.
Possibly that officers think that they are succumbing to the invincible syndrome, that because they are police officers, they have the badge, they wear the gun, and they're the ones that are supposed to be protecting people, that they can't die.
But they do die. Traffic-related crashes were the top cop killer nationwide, and it's been that way for more than a decade. Fatal crashes involving police are relatively rare here in southern Nevada. North Las Vegas hasn't had an officer die in a crash since 1973. Before this year, the last Metro officer to die in a crash was 17 years ago. Henderson police have never had an officer die in a car crash. Memorials honor those who die in the line of duty, but there's no memorial for the officers injured in crashes or the citizens they have harmed, like Calvin Darling, who was hit by Officer Manor.
Officer Manor and Officer Beidel were good men. Their deaths are made even more tragic by the fact that the accidents that took their lives were preventable.
The key to prevention is information. Locally, statewide, and nationally, we found data on police crashes is incomplete, unreliable, or not even collected at all. Metro's crash numbers also include minor parking mistakes, like a bumper merely touching a parking pole. Getting national data isn't any easier.
I know that there's not one central data bank or collection agency that, collects the crashes for police officers throughout the United States. The only one is the FAR system, the Fatal Accident Reporting System through NHTSA.
NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, examines every fatal accident in the country, including crashes involving police vehicles. But NHTSA's research focuses more on improving the car or the road, not the driver. For example, NHTSA found problems with the fuel tanks on Crown Victorias, so police are now safer when they get rear-ended. But we could not find any NHTSA research into how police can avoid crashes in the first place. The state of Nevada also collects data from local police for every crash, fatal or not, including crashes involving police cars. The state uses that information to make roadways safer, but it isn't mined for patterns that might help prevent police officers from crashing. It's the Centers for Disease Control that's the most active in that effort. It wants to help police across the nation by collecting and sharing best practices between agencies, an effort that Metro has already started internally. And the CDC wants to start collecting data on every crash involving a public safety vehicle, police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances too, so that in the future, the research won't just focus on explaining what happened, but on how to protect the officers and those who share the road with them.